housekeeping things. All the recordings will be in Genesis, or sorry, not in Genesis, in Circle. You should have got an email from Circle for the login. If you don't have any issues, or if you, Jesus, why can't I speak today? If you do have issues, just email support@copycoders.ai and they'll make sure you get access. Couple of quick things. I saw a bunch of you guys on the dock early this morning, which was good. Um, I went through, I apologize for yesterday. I know the SOP, it wasn't really an SOP, it was just a dump of bots, which might have been a little confusing. So I went back through here and cleaned this up. Yes, support team is very responsive, very awesome. I went through here and basically updated um, all the stuff, right? So you'll see general writing SOP and advanced editing SOP. Most of this should be self-explanatory. I know it's a lot of information. My encouragement, let me tell you a quick anecdote. I went to AI Bot Summit, the last one, and a woman I'd never met before or seen before just came up to me and gave me like a huge hug, right? And she was like so excited to see me and give me a hug, like I was a fucking celebrity, and I loved it. And I was like, this is great. I get used to this. And she said something really interesting. She was like, "Hey, I was on your bot building workshop. You guys remember the bot building workshop that we did? By the way, still pound for pound, one of the best workshops that we've ever done that you can only get access to in Genesis. I mean, literally this week, I've had people that were able to close deals that were almost, almost multiple five-figure deals just for building a bunch of different bots and things like that. Okay. And it's not stopping there. So the bot building thing is very, very powerful. Anyways, that's besides the point. She came up to me. She was like, I went on your call and I was listening. She was like, the teaching was great. You were a great teacher, which I also loved. It was a really great moment. But then she said something that stood out to me. She was like, there was one point on the call where you basically said, you are here for this weekend or for this week. Chances of you watching this training and then leaving this training for a few weeks and not executing, right? If you don't execute now within this weekend or within the span of time and actually put this stuff to practice, the chances of you doing it later are very, very slim. Very, very slim. So I was like, um, yeah, Matt Anderson, that's awesome. That's crazy. Crazy. Someone screenshot that one. Um, she said, but I was encouraged by what you said to push me. So she said, I cleared my entire weekend. Have had someone take all my kids. I got a babysitter for my kids, and I just spent the entire weekend going through the program and building my first bot. And she said that the very first bot that she built, she was able to sell for $60,000. Which when I heard that, I was like, that's fucking like I don't even understand what I want to figure. Yeah, what was my reaction? I was like, I want to figure out how to sell a bot for fucking $60,000. And then she said she's continued to work with this client, and it literally changed her life to be able to do that. So the reason I bring this up is because you guys are here. You have taken the time and the energy. There's a lot of group commitment. There's a lot of feeling, everything. Um, if you're on this call, my chances are you know that you need to make a pivot to becoming a creative strategist, or you know how valuable these tools and techniques are. So use this week and use this opportunity, use the bots and use the energy and momentum that we have to actually go and make something. Who in here used the bots from yesterday to go make something within the night? Amazing. Sick. Only 200 ads, Don? Should be 2,000. Just kidding. Okay, very good. I'm happy that you guys executed. If you did not go and execute, ask yourself why not. Ask yourself what you're waiting for. Okay, I really want to encourage you to use all of these tools, and I'm giving you a bunch more today, so we can like literally just try to get started. And I highly encourage you all. I know it's a lot of days to also come on the Tuesday call, so you can see the implementation in action because it will remove some of the friction when you see how we actually execute this. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time. I obviously cannot talk with every single person. Um, like on these calls, it would be so long, but I'm going to try to reach out and talk to individual people to make sure you guys get super clear on, okay, I have all these tools, I have all of this. What is my fucking game plan? How do I go from zero to whatever my goal is in the most streamlined way possible and use the tools that are makes the most sense for me? Okay, that's going to be the goal on Tuesday. But I encourage you, do some of the thinking on your own. I try to make this as clear as possible. I know it's a lot of information. I try to make it clear, but I promise once you dive in and get used to it, it'll become so much more familiar for you. Okay, so everything is updated in here. It should be clear. We'll continue to refine it. If you have questions, you can, of course, email support or whatever else. But I tried to make all of this very, very clear. I need to add a couple little things. If you see it highlighted in yellow, that's a couple little things I get to add. But besides that, everything is on here. Okay, and I have a similar folder for everything on funnels today. Okay, I'll pop that link in here and we'll make sure that we get it added to Circle. Jay asked a great question, matching images for unaware ads. We have a bot that is coming for that. So that's a good shout out. Um, we're working on that right away. I actually have a meeting with the bot team right after this call because they can't get enough of me. They love me. They want to meet with me every day to get new and new assignments. And they don't know I have even more bots that I thought of today. So pretty excited for that. Yeah, Lisa's ready to cry. All right, so let's jump in. You guys ready for everything we're covering today? Doesn't really matter if you're not because we're doing it regardless. Okie dokie. Let me just get my shared screen correct. Okay. All right, how's that look for everybody? Looks clean? Clean, good. That's what I like. All right, today we're diving into funnels, which is quite fun. Okay. But first, we're going to do a little review. All right. Yes, this is homework. I want to reinforce these concepts for you so that you know them and know them and know them on the back of your hand so you can actually use them. All right. So let's go in the chat. Let me know. What does cash mean? What does cash mean? Pay attention to this part. This is the learning. Concepts, angles, styles, and hooks. Good. Why do we what's the fucking point of cash besides it's a great acronym? What's the point of cash? It's the anatomy of an ad. Good. It's the DNA of an ad. Awesome. What are the 5 awareness levels? This one's pretty easy. Unaware, problem aware, solution aware, product aware, offer aware. Good. Fotis is on the money. Excellent. What are these 6 copy blocks? What are these 6 copy blocks? Pain, promise, proof, curiosity, constraints, conditions. James gets a prize. I don't know what it is, but he gets a prize. Who can tell me what a segment is? And how do we define the segments? It's a slice of your market. Great. A useful fiction. Awesome. It's your avatar. Good. And then how do we define it? What are some of the key things that we use to define your segment? Desires and awareness, core problem. Yeah, so pain, promise, core problem is big. The demographic is very important as well. And the constraints. Shamari got it. So really your core desire, your pain, your promise, any sort of constraints, particularly around values or identity, and then demographic information. Men, women, short, tall, handsome like me, or you know, the opposite like well, I won't say who, but yeah, I mean, you guys know. You guys know who. Okay, sophistication. What is sophistication a measure of? This was a little trickier, but what's sophistication a measure of? Be aware of what they already know and experienced. Good. It's a measure of other solutions they've tried. It's not the level of it's a level of awareness, but it's more about what have they experienced already? What do they know? Resistance. Good. You guys have nailed it. Great job. All right, here's the tricky one. Let's see who remembers this one. I'm actually curious because yeah, I'm actually curious. The Creative 8. Storming. What Adam T was ready. He knew. Swipes. Templates, organic, research, matrix, internal vectors, new styles, gambits. What is the purpose of these? Storming Daniels, yeah. What's the purpose of these? That's what I'm gonna start calling Daniel. How to source ideas. Good. Why is it important to have a variety of sources for your ideas? Yeah, you get a level of coverage. You don't get stuck. Good. And then different types of ideas give you a little more diversification, going back to that battleship metaphor, right? Good. When we talked about the creative coverage matrix, this is where it's getting even more complicated. How do we break this down? There's a hierarchy that kind of organizes the creative coverage. So someone could put in the chat what the purpose of coverage is, how we defined it, the metaphor we use to talk about coverage, why it's important, and then also how we break it down. I know that's a lot, but I think you guys can get it. Spread out your shots. Good. Spread your seed. Exactly. Battleship. You break it down by your segments, awareness levels, and then concepts. And then within that, you can also do angles, styles, and hooks. And it gives you creative diversity as well. Cool. And this is creative coverage is an example of top down, horizontal, or bottom up advertising. Bottom up. Good. No surprise, Dan got it. Okay. 4 types of unaware ads. We're almost done. We just got 2 more. The 4 types of unaware ads. Yeah, I know somebody's got a butt plug image ready. Straddle ads, good. Yep. Curiosity and relevance is a part of the straddle ads. The symptom ads, the worldview porn ads, and we're missing one more, which is story. Good. All right, you guys were paying attention. I'm happy. And then lastly, how do we write our ads? This is the hardest answer. Bots. Good. Not Mario bot. Exactly. I saw that, Cosmin. Perfect. Another brownie point for you. Another client I'm sending your way. Good. Your income scales with your disrespect towards Mario. Okay. Now we're ready for funnels. Yeah. It's going to be pretty meaty call. So here we go. It's done. Pretty meaty call. I hate the word meaty. I don't know why I said that. All right, here we go. This is what I'm doing tonight or after this workshop. I'm not gonna say tonight, but after this workshop. Okay, so these are all the different funnel types. Okay. At least all the ones that we're going to cover. At least all the ones that I made the bot team build bots for. Except they missed one because they're slackers. But it's okay. I'll make sure they circle back around. Okay, I'm not letting Elise off the hook that easy. So you have advertorials, listicles, top 5 pages, quizzes, caveman pages, bridge or jump pages, comparison pages, and proof pages. Do you feel like if you knew how to write all of these and had bots where you press buttons to write all of these, that you could do something that would make you money with it? Yeah. I mean, pretty easy. These are not in any particular order. Cool. Also, one thing that we'll cover is within advertorials, we're going to cover 9 advertorial subtypes. Okay. It's going to become important later, but you got breaking news, David versus Goliath, expose. It's supposed to be expose. I just don't know how to put the little accent on the E. Social proof frenzy, warning, founder story, authority, contrarian, first person story, etc. Yep. It sounds like Joe's name. All right. Of course, these are not exhaustive. Right? I'm sure there's another funnel type that I missed. Okay. I'm sure there's a subtype of advertorial that I missed, but in general, this is pretty comprehensive. And if there's one that I missed, please let me know because I have 2 people who would love to make another bot to fill in the gaps. Okay. They're eager for it. So here's a quick question for you. We got a bunch of different ideas, but I have a question. How do we know which funnel type to test? Depending on awareness, I don't know. Market awareness, bot, ask a bot. I mean, it's kind of a good question. And there's a couple different ways that we'll go about talking about this. Okay. The honest answer, like The honest answer, I even hate this word, but I think the meme is funny. The honest answer is just be a Chad, right? That's literally as simple. If you want to know which funnels to test, just stole that shit. It looks sick, YOLO, or you felt the bubbling in your guts. Okay? I'm kind of joking, but not really, right? There's a lot of different answers that we have, but you got to use a little bit of common sense. You got to use a little bit of thinking, right? Great. That's a great little chart there. There are some like nerdy ways to break things down, but the reality is, um, like, for example, let's look at the thing that Gray shared, which is um, like advertorials are not very great for like an unaware market, is what it says on the chart. But like, it's kind of true, but also not really true because if you have a great unaware ad and then you want to send them to deeper education, an advertorial can absolutely work. And I've seen this exact scenario very like long form unaware ad going directly to like a lots of proof and whatever. The thing is, there's so many dynamics within your market. You have to be the one to pay attention to what you think the bottlenecks are. Like the main question you got to ask is why is somebody not buying? Do they not believe? Do they want more engagement? Do they want whatever? And oftentimes you just want to do something new, right? Or kind of follow what's working because that's what's working and that's what people are responding to. All right. So there's so many variables in terms of your market and in terms of the market overall that trying to like just really break it down into rules is going to fuck you up a little bit. Okay. That's why I follow this. Dan says most aware or unaware. I'm seeing it the other way. Yeah. I'm saying this chart right here is saying advertorials are great for, are the one that Gray put are really great for, oh, I guess I'm wrong. So maybe it's perfect and use it. And I don't know how to read a graph. All right. Yeah, it's in the chat. That's what I'm looking at. But there's another thing you can use, which is also your brain. Okay. Hold on. In the spirit of stole that shit. I'm stealing this right now. If I can figure out how to get this thing to work. There we go. Perfect. And you got the little zoom screen on top of that. So this is the answer to the question, if you guys were wondering. Use that. All right. There's some other things that you can use to think about it. What I like to think about it is focusing on bottlenecks. Okay. Focusing on bottlenecks. There's tons of different bottlenecks. Again, use your intuition and use common sense. But things like how aware are they of the problem? How relevant do they feel like this is? Right? Their understanding of the solution. Do they believe in the solution? How much do they trust you? What's their perception of value? Is price justification an issue? What's the perception of risk? Do you need to minimize the risk? And do you need to increase the urgency? Right? So those are some of the things that you can use to identify it. And again, this is more or less, more or less. And these are not exhaustive. Here's a little chart here that will also kind of rank each of the ones that we're going to show you based on some of these different bottlenecks. Okay. Use the bottlenecks or use this one that I came up with and created and provided. and definitely did not pull from the chat live on the call. We're going to redact that that little moment. Use that or use something like this. But overall, like I really do recommend just trusting your judgment, paying attention, et cetera, et cetera. Cool. Noah's trying to get into the slides too. Let's see. Let's see if he makes it. Collection page 4. Nice. Pretty fire. Or just join Genesis and get help on the weekly feedback calls. Exactly. I love when the chat just starts selling Genesis for me. That's awesome. Keep doing it. Here's some other things too. Some kind of just like if then rules that you could pay attention to. If they didn't feel the problem, use this. They don't trust you. But again, you can modify any of these funnel types to suit your needs, right? Like a quiz funnel, for instance, is really high on interactivity and engagement, but you can do so much selling and so much education within a quiz funnel, as we'll see in a little bit. Okay. So copy what's working, use your intuition and common sense, use the frameworks that are provided plus bots, and then you got to test stuff. Okay. So you got to pay attention to it. All right, let's jump into advertorials. You guys ready for that? Bunches of advertorials. Cool. I mean, advertorials are like pound for pound, kind of the king, especially for a lot of the what creative strategists do. D2C, e-com stuff, quite powerful. I'm not going to go into everything what an advertorial is. I got some fun little definitions here if you're confused. I'm just going to go through like the high level stuff. I think most people in here know what an advertorial is. So I'm going to go through like mistakes, things like that, and then show some examples of common types and a bunch of other shit. So I think one of the most important things for an advertorial that I see, and by the way, I hate that, Sasha says, any notes on B2B regarding this? Let me think about that question. I have seen some of these work as well, but no immediate principles spring to mind. So some of the things that I think is like an advertorial comes from editorial, which is a piece of news, which means your advertorial, the whole purpose of the advertorial is to look like a piece of native news. Now, obviously, many people will look at it and know that you're trying to sell something. But as much as possible, you want to participate in the illusion that this is not a sales letter, this is a piece of news. So you need to make the thing that you're talking about newsworthy. This is like one of the biggest issues that I see is like you're presenting something that is so boring. It's not newsworthy. Something that's so boring, it doesn't seem like it's worthy of news. And you're trying to, just because it follows an advertorial format or follows the structure of it, you think that that's an advertorial. It's not. You have to do the work to make it actually matter. Second to that is just matching the tone to the format of real publications. That's kind of the two big ones. Okay. There's a third one that is very, very important. Very, very important. And by the way, this is pretty much the same thing I said about ads, right? If you went and looked at the infamous bonus PDF that I shared, and you got to see all my unhinged rantings that were inside of it, a lot of what I was telling all the copywriters on that, or the creative strategists, or anyone, it's the feedback I give often. If you guys have been on the A-lister feedback call, it's that you need to be committed to your ideas. People, like, a lot of times the big mistake is that people just kind of think a soup of ideas is better. They're like, let me just throw a bunch of shit in here versus being really clear about what idea you're talking about and being committed to that one idea. So when it comes to advertorials, understand what subtype you're going for and be very committed to that subtype. Okay? Sometimes you can blend them, you can move them around, but pay attention to these subtypes. This is basically what Clayton Makepeace used to call the theme. I don't know if you guys have ever read Ultimate Desktop Copy. Is that the name of it? I think so. Ultimate Desktop Copy. It's a big 1,000-page behemoth. I love that book. And I think it's around chapter 7 or 8. He goes through something called theme, which he's the only person I've ever heard really mention it. And theme a lot of times relates to what we're talking about here. Okay? Which is just committing to your subtype. So if it's breaking news, it better be a new discovery or something breaking. If it's David versus Goliath, it better be the story of how this small company is taking on big whatever. If it's an expose, this needs to read like an expose. Social proof frenzy, it better read like this is the most miraculous thing to ever hit the shelves and everybody is clamoring for it. So getting clear on your subtypes is really important. Elise went through and edited the advertorial bot. We already had an advertorial bot that was quite good, and she went through and edited it. I think Joshua actually helped us build the advertorial bot. She went through and edited it. That's so weird to say. Edited it, and I'm just stimming over here to create all of these different subtypes. I did not test the bot that she made, so you guys can let me know if we keep her or not. Okay, we let her know if it's good. We can be brutally honest. But I trust that it's good, and it will help you stay on track with the different subtypes. All right? And then second to understanding that, you want to be clear about who the bot or who the thing is coming from. Does this make sense, everything that I'm talking about with advertorials? It's pretty common sense and pretty basic, but you guys need to be reminded like 1,000 times because this is like the universal mistake. I mean, the mistakes I'm talking about here are the mistakes that keep Mario and I in business, basically. Because as long as we have to tell you and remind you to do these things, then we get to stay in business, right? The moment you guys actually listen and start executing, we go bye-bye, sayonara. Mario goes back to delivering trash or whatever the fuck he did before he was writing copy. He did nothing. He's never had a job in his life. The most degenerate person. He went from gambling to copywriting, which is awesome. And I'll go back to doing God knows what, right? Meditating on the beach. All right. Also, you guys will be getting a master swipe file with everything that we're talking about in here. Okay? Is that okay with you guys, or should I take this off? Because you don't want to be overwhelmed. Maybe you guys want to be, you don't want to be, whatever. I think there's not a lot that are in here. There's only 180 swipes. So, you know, sorry guys. We didn't get to 200. All right, so let's just go quickly through these. A lot of these are going to be pretty self-explanatory, so we'll breeze through these different subtypes and then you guys can go back and read and see whatever, okay? So you have the breaking news discovery one. Again, this is just saying, here's some kind of new breaking news, whatever. Awesome, Dan. Thanks for posting that in there. Here's an example. Hearing aids just got the upgrade, their biggest upgrade yet. Now everyone wants a pair. Some sort of big breakthrough. That's really what you're claiming, okay? And this is one of the ones that I have them linked in here. They're also in the swipe file. In the swipe file as well, they should be organized by subcategory. So you should be able to identify the different like subtypes and things like that. They're not going to be perfect. Unfortunately, some of them, are kind of blended or whatever. So you have to use your judgment to piece through, but it's a pretty great swipe file. All right, breaking news discovery. I feel like that's self-explanatory. Do you guys agree? Put a yes in the chat if you agree, or need me to just say other things. All right, swag. Awesome. Then we have David versus Goliath. All right, I don't actually see a whole lot of these, but I think they're quite powerful. This is basically when you're talking about whatever big is, big pharma, big farm, big shoe, big whatever. Whatever the big is in your industry, you can kind of frame yourself as, innocent little pure David taking on whatever else. It's it's funny some of the shit that I see. You think Big Shoe is funny? I've seen some of the most. What was the one I saw the other day that just had me dying? It was, I don't know what it was. Something that was so ridiculous. Right? Big Honey. Yeah, that was it. Big Honey. Somebody was taking on Big Honey, and I was like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. Okay, this shit's real, and it's undefeated. So that's pretty basic. You just frame your product or company as the underdog. Okay, I need to add some different examples to the swipe file. I couldn't really find. I know I have one in there or have seen one, but I couldn't really find one. If you guys have a link to one, we can pop it in here and add it. But that's quite a powerful one. You'll see it as sort of like this small company is quietly taking on the XYZ billion-dollar industry, right? That's kind of the framework that you'll see. I used to see a bunch. Mocha, that's awesome. If you have it and you want to pop it in, that would be super, super helpful. Okay, then we also have the expose. Again, it's not expose, it's expose. I just don't know how to put the accent on the E. Actually, I probably do. If I just probably do this. Yeah, pretty easy. All right, I do know. Just lazy. Okay, expose. It just reveals some sort of hidden information. Okay? It's basically you're taking Big Honey and you're exposing them, right? Instead of just the story of the underdog of you taking them on, it's sort of exposing the dangerous practices that they use, right? This liquidless laundry detergent is stopping millions of plastic jugs from entering the ocean. When you recycle, over 90% ends up in plastics and oceans. Right? Expose to sell penny stocks is very common. Awesome. Yeah, you're exposing some sort of big competitor or something else like that. The other one too that I often don't see a lot of this, but I've heard and know some anecdotes of this sort of framing, both on the ad level, but even on the funnel advertorial level, do really, really well, right? Especially for products that already have some virality built into them, things like skincare, things where, yeah, I think things that have virality built into them, it's just really, really powerful. And of course, you want to have real social proof, but it's also pretty easy to engineer a lot of this stuff, right? This pillowcase, I mean, here's a pretty light example. It's quickly becoming the must-have gift of 2025. And then everything you see is in there. All right, let's see what Mocha contributed. I recently discovered how to refrigerate my room and under whatever. I think it's good. I don't know if it qualifies as... Oh, I guess so. Yeah, air conditioner industry. Awesome. Let's give a thank you to Mocha for his contribution to the swipe file. And Karen or whoever's on the team stole that shit. Exactly. Karen, let's add that one to the swipe file too. And we'll put it under David versus Goliath. All right. You guys clear so far? Is this a good pace? Expose, social proof frenzy, David versus Goliath, breaking news. You guys are following so far? I think this stuff is pretty easy. Okay, cool. So then we have the warning. This is when you're warning about something, some sort of, this is like the surprising culprit, if you guys are familiar with the beat maps. Um, oh, sorry, Mocha. We misgendered. It's all right. That's how we do. Okay. Um, big patriarchy is at play. We can tell. So, warning ones is basically when you're talking about like a surprising culprit, you're talking about, some sort of bad thing that they're doing that's breaking it down. Yeah, if you guys are familiar with the surprising culprit beats, this is what you would do in the warning. Okay, here's one. Try this breakthrough solution to stop snoring or risk having a heart attack. Obviously, that's quite aggressive. So adjust to whatever your brand guidelines are and whatever your compliance tolerance is. But warnings are always very powerful. Fear-based stuff is quite powerful. You can choose how you want to land it, but it's there. Then we have the founder story. These are really good. This is also one that, for whatever reason, I could not actually find. I could not actually find a great example. So, um, if someone has a great one, I'll try to look and add it. But you've seen these around. It's basically telling the origin story, right? So and so person. Uh, there's a Italian man from the slums of Staten Island accidentally discovers some kind of bot secret that somehow allows him to do something worthwhile against all odds, coming from the slum of the U.S., the armpit of the U.S. He's able to make something of his life. Okay. That's kind of interesting. So you want to frame it. It's like an underdog story, but again, you're just focusing more on the founder versus the conflict. Then, of course, you have the first person, right? These are the ones that basically are telling the story. Here's how I fixed my whatever, doing some, rubbing honey on my leg or something like that, right? So it's coming from the first person. Obviously, the voice and tone is really, really powerful. Tons of examples of these, how I easily corrected my bunions and relieved my foot pain in just seconds. Okay. Tons of examples there. Staten Island is not nice. The ferry is nice. That's the only thing nice about Staten Island is just taking a boat to it and then stepping on it for like a couple seconds and leaving as fast as possible. I've done that quite a bit. But other than that, that's it's not really worth it. Okay. Then you have authority. Again, these are quite simple. A lot of these, some of these are going to blend together, but authority is just like, hey, I'm an expert, I'm a doctor. This is this amazing thing that I found, or this new insight or something that I found. You should pay attention to that. Okay. You're just leaning a lot into the expertise of the person. Then, of course, you have contrarian. This is also like myth busting. So breaking myths in the market, right? Um, going against the grain, taking some sort of whatever else. Again, a lot of these angles and hooks you can pull from some of the past trainings that we did, right? A lot of the same concepts here. It's just extrapolated into. Oh yeah, you guys are sick. Let's see what we got. Uh-oh, this one did. Oh, let's see. I'm not a robot. I just got spammed by Sean. Had two Germans. Oh yeah, this is awesome. Daniel or Karen, can you guys add the one from Fotis, the one from Cadena? I hope that's right. And Sean. Let's add those ones too. Okay, so you got the contrarian ones. Here's an example, 5 misconceptions about CTV. I don't really have any conceptions about CTV, but somebody does. And boom, there you go. And how do you guys think, by the way, does that make sense? These different subtypes, and is it helpful and useful to have these kind of organized and broken down so that you know what type you're doing when it's time to write them? Cool. It kind of cleans it up. It's super helpful. Now, how do you guys think that you can actually write these advertorials? Almost said the answer. Make Mario do it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do. Just have Mario write all the copy. I hate writing copy. It's too hard. This thing called a bot. Exactly. Just use our bots. We have a brand new bot. It will do all of this stuff for you, and it's quite good. You put your idea in there. I mean, that's basically all you got to do. Is just use the bot. Okay. Press the buttons, and there's also the editing SOP that's in there as well. All right, which we may need to make a little bit. I went through it. I think we may need to make it a little more robust too. But it's already quite strong. So that's it for advertorials. Quite simple, quite done. One little pro tip, of course, is because you have such a big swipe file, it's so powerful. If you have a swipe or an advertorial that you like, it's really, really great. Just go into the bot, you put the example in there, and then you put in the information, your build to buy, your copy blocks, your sales letter, whatever the information you want to put in there that it specifies. And then it will write that advertorial in the style and pretty closely to what it is that you want to do. We also have an SOP and a process later. I know a lot of people use things like Claude Code and Lovable and all these other tools to actually make the advertorial. I'm going to continue to find the best practices there, but we do have an SOP I'm going to give you that will show you how in a couple clicks of a button, you can easily clone any advertorial page and get it live quite quickly, right? As well as some tools that do that as well, things like Lander Labs and stuff that you can pay attention to. All right, you guys good to move on to the next one? Cool. So now we're going to listicles. Listicles are quite easy. It's just a list. I don't know. I don't know what to put in these slides because some of it is just like listicle. It's a list. Here's what it looks like, and press the button and you write it. Okay, I'm kind of putting myself out of things to do. Right? There are three core listicle types, though, that you could pay attention to. Again, not exhaustive, but in general, there's three that you could use. Tips, warning signs, reasons why. I recently wrote it's kind of a hybrid between a proof page, which we'll talk about in a second, and a reasons why. It was like 8 reasons why I recommend grounding as a doctor or whatever. And I just went through bombarding with tons of proof. And it very quickly, we'll see where it's at right now, but it very quickly became one of the higher performing funnels. And the reason I chose to do that for that company is because I knew that the big bottleneck for a lot of people was just believing that it worked. The other bottleneck, of course, is believing if grounding works, why don't I just go stand outside and hug a tree, right? If that would be a cheaper option. And then, of course, they're pretty expensive. So price justification is another one. But because I knew proof was a really big bottleneck and it was not being used correctly, then we popped it in there. I wish, but I have to hold back. But you did share with me, so maybe I'll share directly with you. Big Bed doesn't want you to know about these sheets exactly. Okay, so the first one is tips. It's just quite easy. It's just an educational listicle. You're delivering a lot of value by teaching something useful. Mario is mentioning that this is pretty good for B2B, right? The classic example is right here. How to Create Advertising That Sells from David Ogilvy. An oldie but a goodie. Go ahead and read it. Yeah, Big Earth. Big Globe. It doesn't want you to be grounded. Okay, works pretty good for service providers and experts, but you can also do it for products. This is one here. The 4+1 model is a nice way to do it. 4 genuinely free tips, with the 5th tip being your product or service. The free tips build trust and demonstrate value. The 5th tip offers the easy path. No tip jokes in the chat, please. I could feel them brewing, and we don't need that. All tips are valuable, and your product is positioned as what makes implementation possible or easier. And the tips demonstrate your expertise with the CTA to hire you, right? So this is really good. For B2B, I mean, these are probably the best that you could possibly do. And this is a great example there. And what do you know? We have a bot that you just say, just the tips, please, just like what Foda said. And it'll write the thing for you. Okay, we'll do some demonstration a little bit later. Then we also have warning signs. Quite simple. Here's a common symptom, and it's a warning sign of something bad about to happen to you. One thing that's really cool too is, polarity exists everywhere, but polarity definitely exists in copywriting. And so, for instance, recently I saw a post go quite viral in the alternative health market, which was like 7 signs that you're actually healthy. right? Because there's been so many three signs, warning signs, three signs, this, four signs, and it was like seven signs that you're actually healthy, and the thing like went super viral. And I'm gonna swipe it um, for this grounding company, right? But what's cool is like you can do that. You can always flip from the positive to the negative and kind of cloak a lot of these things together, right? So warning signs could be actually signs that something is good, signs that you're doing things right. Okay, it's quite powerful. Let's check this one. Uh-oh, dangerous website. Fucking Norton is so annoying. But let's save it. Save this one, Karen, in the chat from Fotis. It might you put a note, yeah, put a note that it might it might be a phishing scam, and to click at your own risk, but it is what it is. Okay, going back to like the dog gut ones, etc. Okay, then of course we have reasons why. This one's very, very powerful and quite ubiquitous. It just gives arguments. These are so good because they're so scannable, right? They're so bite sized. It's so simple. You just here's the reasons why. Boom, 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 and you go right through them. Done. Yeah. Let's get the one from Noah too. I don't know what he put on there, but he's an equally suspect character in this chat. He's part of the Degenesis. It looks pretty good though. Yeah, this page looks sick. Let's add that one as well. Okay, the format is very fast. Tons of things that you can use in here. The structure is really easy. The reason, the brief support. I mean, again, it's quite simple. Here's an example in here, and there's tons of examples in that swipe file that I shared. Okay, and we're adding new ones. And again, I just copied and pasted this slide about 16 times. Just use the bots plus examples to write these. Dunzo. Cool. You guys feel okay with that? Listicles. What are the three listicle types? See if you guys are actually paying attention, or you're trying to buy some colostrum. Tips, warning signs, reasons why. Awesome. What are the advertorial subtypes? Yeah, Rada, the main goal of these advertorials is to take users more from unaware to really get them to buy. Just continuing the sales process, right? But the sales process is not always linear. That's the only thing that I see. Like it's often circular or spiral, right? So like again, that's why I've seen a long form ad that will take you all the way from unaware to getting to buy the product. You can still send that unaware ad to an advertorial that just reinforces the sales process. It's not necessarily like everything needs to move in a linear process because my bias is always like people do not always do not consume everything that you tell them, right? I know you guys are going to miss a bunch. So I try to do my best to make sure that you're here, but you're here as students and learners. But if someone's reading my advertising, I never make the assumption that they're consuming everything that I'm sending. Mario sends 6,000 emails on the last day of a promo saying this is your last fucking chance, and people will still email and be like, "What happened? I didn't get I didn't get the 75 emails that you sent, right? With fucking caps lock on them." So, um, I pay attention to that. Listicles, emotional story, David Goliath, disruptor, social proof, contrarian. Um, Malcolm, we shared a little bit of that earlier on. We have the bottlenecks. Remember, the bottlenecks will help you as guidelines or rules, and the other one is kind of just breaking it down by awareness level. Yeah, it's okay. It's a great question. It's a little bit earlier on. We covered it, and I probably just make Bax build a bot. I mean, that's really my solution to most things. I sense a bot brewing, and I say, let's just make it happen. Why not? Okay, you guys ready to continue? All right, we'll go to top five. Top five pages are crazy good. I mean, for some brands and some companies, they're, you know, the one thing that they run. Insanely, insanely crazy good. Okay. It's basically a comparison style where you're just comparing, hey, these are the top five X solutions for probiotics. These are the top five gadgets for whatever. Okay. And then at the end of it, you just say, surprise, surprise, number one is my product. Done. Okay. These are pretty good for people who are kind of solution aware, product aware, most aware. That's when these things will work. You can do a little bit of pre-sell before the comparison. Using visual differentiation is quite important, right? Between it, you'll see in a lot of the examples how you can kind of use that. And the most important part is you get to define the criteria. So when you're doing a top 5 page, the first thing you do is that you just define what the criteria are, and you just choose the criteria that makes your product the best. Done. Let's take a look at this one that Noah popped in here. Yeah, this is a pretty good one, right? Let's add this one too, Karen. Nice little top 5 pages, and you guys got quite a bunch of examples. Reinforcing the top choice, and then you want to handle your cons as well, right? So you don't want your thing to be perfect. You do want to kind of put some blemishes on your product, but you can do things like, oh, it's premium pricing, or it's only available on their website, or whatever, which are kind of like bogus cons. But that's what we do. We do a little bit of marketing magic. Max, you were the one who built the bot for this one. How good is this top 5 page? There's top
Uh,
5 bot.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah, you said it was pretty
No, we
good.
need more conviction than that.
It's
We
fucking
think it's good.
awesome. It's the best ever. Of course.
I know it's really really good because he put a lot of work, and there's also a lot of really good sauce that's buried inside of it. So um, I happen to know some of that sauce, so it's pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely top 5. It's definitely top 5. Um, Standard word count again. I mean, that's the age old question. I think advertorial is like 1,000 to 1,500 words in general. I mean, Mario, would you agree with that? Maybe even up to 2,000. Yeah, 1,000 to 1,500 is about what I would say. But it needs to be as long as it needs to be. And then, when you use your CTA is really important because if you put your CTA earlier on where it makes sense, then it doesn't really matter. Yeah. And then, of course, just looking at using heat maps and things like that um,
And I've
are
seen long
quite important.
ones work, but you probably wouldn't want to start with a longer one. Like if you're looking for the standard, I would stay in that 1,000 to 1,500 range.
Agree.
Can I ask a question?
Who is asking?
You have.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, ask the question, and then if it's relevant, we'll answer it, and if not, we'll save it till later.
All right. So I thought about an idea for a bot, for like a personalized bot that I would just feed it all the argument points and elements and emotional hooks and all the things that make our the a specific offer effective, and then feed it to the bot and whatever, I don't know how to build a bot, like do all the stuff, and then like when I'm writing copy, then I'm kind of just elementing it out. Like instead of like writing it, like just saying like here put this, kind of like a puzzle piece with some connecting words, and then this way just having higher volume and hit rate.
Hmm. I'm not sure I quite understand, but send an email because I'm curious about, or try to write it in the chat too.
So you're talking about like the
All right.
main points that he wants in the
Yeah,
copy.
all the things that make the all the ideas that you have, all the things that you find from the research of, all the ideas that worked in your ads, all the argument points.
All you got to
Uh,
do is
yeah,
save it in a text file and then upload it into any of the
Yeah,
bots.
yeah. To
yeah.
to to be honest, uh, yeah, I that's actually something that I did. So the reasons why advertorial, or actually for the next one, it's fucking perfect timing. It's always perfect time. You guys ask the best questions. So uh, yeah, we'll move on, and then if just remind to mute yourself too after, just because you seem a little out of breath, and he was running somewhere. I don't know, but great question. So we're talking about this caveman pages, was something I don't see a lot of people use, even though I think it's very, 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 very powerful. Okay. Dan put something too. Dan does like fucking a million advertorials. It's so crazy. So I would listen to whatever he says. He said, I found link placement varies by how difficult it is to understand the product or the offer. If it's something easy to understand, like a space heater, you can put your links in a notification box at the very top. Agree. Something that they need to understand, like a supplement or something with more complex mechanism, they need to buy in the story rationale, put the links lower is better. Exactly. It's just about, do you want to force consumption or not? So you have to pay attention to that as well. Okay. And then the end format of these, I don't know, there's a lot of questions. I'll let Mario sort of hit those questions. Going back to the caveman pages, I'll show you an example. These are really, really powerful pages. They're basically just a list of questions, and they're caveman because that's like, it's literally questions like, what is this? How does it work? Who made this? Why do I buy it? Why buy it now? Can I buy elsewhere? And you answer with equally really, really simple language, and it's just cutting right to the chase. Okay, obviously, this is someone who's probably more in the solution aware, although it can kind of bleed over into some problem aware ones as well. Combo caveman. This looks good. Yeah, another fake shop. Let's steal this fake link from Fotis too, Karen. Just another one. Let's give him another shot on goal. The first one didn't work. So what's cool about caveman pages, when I went to write this, I actually just took all of my top ads that I had, and you could just put them into the bot and say, I want you to use the copy and the selling points from my ads here and use them to answer the questions. Okay, so basically it's kind of I forgot the name. I think Yoav or whoever it was, whatever the question that you asked. You can take all your top ads or all your top resources and say, just use this information to actually write the advertorial or write the caveman page, and it's quite good because it will borrow the copy. The only thing that you need to be clear about in the prompt when you do it, and maybe we can make a prompt for that, is just to make sure that it's like, hey, don't just dump in an ad as the answer to the question because that doesn't make sense. It's like use and borrow the language strategically. So we're using language we already know resonates with the market in the ad, but we're just blending it for the question. So when it's asking how does it work, we're borrowing really good mechanism copy from the ad that we already know works, and then we're filling in the gaps there. Is what I'm saying making sense? I know it's a little more maybe a little more advanced, but that's a really, really powerful method. And in general, this is what I've shared since the beginning. The most powerful thing I've been figuring out is feeding it examples of ads, like especially if you're winning ads. You can feed it in advertorials, you can feed it in ads, you can do everything else, okay? So it's quite powerful. Okay, Caveman Page is a question and answer style advertorial. The name comes from its simplicity. It's just structured around a bunch of questions. Okay, here's a little bit about how it works. You don't need to know why it works. You just need to know that it works. Here are some questions that you can put. Again, we have a caveman bot that will determine the right questions for you, and you should also use your brain. But in general, these are questions that are kind of universal as well. Yeah. Fotis, it's just because I have Norton, and Norton is like, it's a pain in the ass. I wish I never gotten it. But it just does it. So here's an example. These guys, this is Performance Golf. They run a bunch of these styles of pages. I know you can only see a little bit, but you guys have links to all of them. But hopefully you can see just a little bit. What is it? It's a new driver from whatever. It's not a training aid, right? Lots of visuals. What does it do? It work with this. It make you swing more golf club faster. I know I'm zoomed way in. It's just I have a weird thing. I don't want to mess it up. But you guys will have access to it, so you can go and check it out. But I know it was a little hard to see. Do you get a sense of what a caveman page is? And this thing was like crushing for them. And they have many, many styles of these types of pages. It's clear what a caveman style page is. Cool. Can you think of, because anyone in here think of an example of wanting to test it? Or a client? For your own business or for a client, could you see why using this or making it would be valuable? Yeah, I that's one I do not see a lot, and I think it would work quite well. Okay, and you can just run it in the bot. Dunzo. All right, now we're gonna talk about proof pages. We're gonna talk about proof pages. Now, to be honest, proof pages, they can be a separate example. Simplify caveman page, please. Yeah, make it simpler. Let me show you an example of what here's an example of what I would consider a proof page. Let me just put the link in here. Since I know I have this weird screen thing and I'm zoomed in. But you can see it's kind of like a regular product page, but everything is just focused on tons of social proof, tons of science, tons of testimonials, tons of whatever, right? Like, you know, it's a regular product page. It's doing a lot of the same selling points and stuff, but it's like very, very hardcore with its proof. And I'll pop in the caveman example too, so you guys can pay attention to it now. All right. So a proof page is a little bit of a misnomer in the sense that typically all it is taking like a regular product page, which we'll talk about in a second, or a regular caveman page, or even a reasons why page, and you're just stacking it with so much proof. Okay, that's one thing that I'm gonna give you. One thing that we built for you guys. This is one of those. I'm gonna hype it up a little bit because I want people to use it, and it's a little more complicated. And I know that only a few people will actually bother to use it, and those that do will get fucking amazing results with this. Who do people consider like the best copywriter of all time? Who's the best copywriter of all time? Gary. Gary what? Which Gary? Got a lot of Marios. Gary Georgie. I mean, there's a lot of debate. To me personally, I think Gary Halbert is the best of all time. I'm team Halbert. I feel like it's Bensavenga and Halbert, right? Is like the Lennon and McCartney of copywriters, right? And that's basically your choice. Okay, they didn't really ever collaborate that much. Halbert to me is fucking the best and will always be the best. I think he's better than all of them, unfortunately. Bensavenga, though, is quite good, and many would consider him the best of all time. And Bensavenga is known for proof maxing. Yeah, if you guys have ever bought or pirated, I know no one in here would pirate a course. How dare you? But if you guys have ever magically gotten access, whether by paying the fee or whatever else, through Bensavenga's farewell course, you will know that he says proof is more important than claims. Proof is the most important thing. He literally said, all of my success comes down to being more focused on getting proof than anyone else. Proof. So if the best copywriter of all time, or at least the second best of all time, depending on how you rate it, is saying that proof is important, don't you think proof is important? I guess no one thinks proof is important. All right. Of course. Yes. But I'm emphasizing this because people understand, oh, yeah, proof, it's a copy block. Oh, yeah, proof, it's a copy block. And then people are so fucking lazy when it comes to proof. It's embarrassing. Everyone in here should be embarrassed unless you're doing what I'm talking about and what I'm going to give you, right? And here's what I'd say. If you don't use the process that I'm going to give you guys in here, you should be embarrassed. Shame, 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 shame. All right? I'm using shame selling to get you guys to take action because it is so powerful, right? When you work with a client, whatever, if you can generate better proof than your competitors and really focus, and really focus on why you should do it. On why you should do it. And that's not what I meant to say, but just fucking focus on it. Okay? I'm gonna give you a bunch of resources on proof, and I'm gonna show you this process. It's a little bit involved. Max helped me to build this bot, and by his own admission, he said it's the best bot that he ever built. Okay, he's probably built 40 or 50 bots at this point, and that's the only one that I've actually seen him like get very excited about. It was a little bit cute. It was like so uppity and so happy about his proof bot, but it is very, very sick because it works like gangbusters, and it does something that used to take hours and hours to do. It does it like so quick for you. When I first started working with the company, the grounding one, the first thing I did was like, all right, we got to get proof. We got to go through the studies. We got to figure out this. We got to figure out that. Once I got all that proof, I threw it into the reasons why bot, right? Followed that structure and got a winning one advertorial right away. Okay. So there's just a lot of shit to talk about with proof. Yeah. It's important to understand the different forms of proof. I've shared this a lot of times before. I actually have a video coming out. Oh yeah, you guys won't have access to this. I need to fix this link. But essentially, you'll get access to the 22 types of proof, right? Which are broken down in here. Things like technical jargon, candid communication, explanatory reasoning, logical arguments, guarantees. Then you have experiential proof, like testable proof, demonstration, trials and samples, challenges and contests, comparisons before and after. Empirical proof, like studies and research, stats and evidence, infographics, credible proof, third-party verifications, track record, expert endorsements, media and press coverage, awards and recognition. Social proof, like testimonials and reviews, case studies, social media metrics, etc. And basically what the bot will do is it'll identify all the proof you have. It'll identify the gaps in proof that you have. And then it will go out and figure out ways to find new proof for you. Okay? Basically it. And not only that, it will also do proof manipulation to make your proof as strong as possible. And that's the most powerful one because people don't know how to do it. It'll literally go through all your scientific studies. It'll go through every single trial that was done. It will measure it against placebo. It'll do a calculation to figure out what are the biggest changes. It'll find the one that has the biggest delta, and then it'll find a way to transform that into something that's sexy. And if it doesn't do that, Max's email is Max Voorhees. Max, put your email in here for potential hate mail if it doesn't do it. What is it? maxvoorhees@gmail.com, something like that. It's this guy commenting. Yeah. You guys can blame him. All right, a couple of rules of proof because I saw some debate in the chat because you guys are a bunch of nerds. It's okay. I'm a nerd too. 4 rules of 4 rules of proof. Match your proof to your promise. Okay. In general, the claim is you do claim proof. That's like beginner logic, but in general, you do want there to be a proof after your claim, but match your proof to your promise. Rule number 2, the harder your proof is to fake, the stronger it is. That should be duh, but yeah. Let people experience it for themselves. Demonstration and experience is the strongest form of proof. And psychological proof is very underrated. Right? You guys can pay attention to my new YouTube video that's coming out too if you want to watch it with a bunch of memes and shit. It's kind of fun. You can also document all your proof in a reasons why thing. Tons of visuals and examples are really powerful as well. One of the most powerful things that you can do and that I did, again, I maybe I'll find a way to show examples, but it's basically when I went and found, I'll show you, I can narrate an example. Okay, I can narrate an example. For the grounding company, one of the things that people talk about is like, oh, grounding is awesome. I'm just going to go stand outside. Right? And we're like, fuck. No, that's not what I wanted you to do. I wanted you to buy my shit. I convinced you, but you fucking bought something else, right? So how do we handle that? Well, you can handle that with like, all right, yeah, you can go stand outside, but there's pesticides and bugs and winter time and stuff like that, right? There's ways to kind of fix that objection. But one argument that you can do is like, all right, well, if you go stand outside and ground, how long are you reasonably going to be out there barefoot? 20 minutes. So you're basically taking 60 years of being ungrounded and trying to fix it with 20 minutes of standing outside. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me. Compare that to 8 to 9 hours that you get every single night laying down on the grounding sheet where you're connected to the earth, right? So all I had to do was compare 20 minutes standing outside grounded to 8 or 9 hours of using the grounding sheet every single night. And all I did was I took that stat. I figured out what's the delta, right? What's 20 minutes? What is it? 20 minutes. If you're sleeping 8 hours, that's like a 24x improvement, right? So all I did was I went into Nano Banana and I said, make me an infographic that will show really, really simply with big, chunky, whatever. Maybe that's something I'll add in the course to make me an infographic that showed 20 minutes versus 8 hours, 24x improvement. And it just is big and chunky. And even if someone is not paying too much attention, they're going to look at it and be like, wow, this is 24 times stronger, right? Which in a way it is. But because I took that proof and I knew how to manipulate it in a sense, or optimize it, adjust it, optimize it to something that was as strong as possible, and then put it in a visual, which I know people will consume really easily, very, 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 very powerful. Okay? And again, you just use our bots to write this because we have a bot that will do it. We have a bot that will do it. Funny enough, we have an SOP for this, and it only works with LukeBot, and it doesn't work with MarioBot for some reason. Because MarioBot just fucking yells at people in caps lock. No proof, just goes. You need the scientific one. We do need a bot to use our bots. Yeah, we're planning on it. The master bot. All right. Now we're going to quiz funnels. Quiz funnels. All right. I mean, everyone knows that quiz funnels are going quite crazy. Okay. So quiz funnels are very, very powerful, right? They're working really, really well right now. I mean, there's brands that are spending millions and millions of dollars a month on their quiz funnel. That's awesome, Ken. It's really, really good. Mario had a good point. He had a surprising stroke of insight. And he basically was talking when he talked about quiz funnels, which is if you could pick one person to convince your prospect to buy life or death, who would you pick? Would it be Gary Halbert or Gary Benzavenga, right? It would be none of them. The best person to convince your prospect is your prospects themselves. And that's why quiz funnels work, because they create an ecosystem where your prospect comes to their own conclusions. That's basically it. Right? It's really quite powerful. Why quiz funnels outperform? They combine the strengths of all of these different funnel types. And then we go through a structure. So let me zoom down. The first thing you're going to do is kind of isolate your symptoms, right? Make sure that they're feeling the pain points. You're going to really demonstrate the current cost, create the gap from kind of where they are to where they want to be. And then you'll notice along the way, you kind of have these strategic insight panels that will offer proof. It'll offer mechanism understanding. It'll offer reassurance. It'll act as sort of like an open loop to connect them and bring them back forward. Then you're basically going to create a pattern. Yeah, you'll get access to all these slides. You're going to create a pattern and a narrative around this. Remove the shame, so normalize and validate everything. Show them the cost of inaction. And then there's other types of questions that you'll get in there as well. Okay. In the swipe file, you will see examples of quizzes. And let me actually see if it's ready. Cool. You guys will actually get access to this will be all broken down. Daniel, one thing we can do it later, is just take all these images and actually put them on the page so people can kind of see them and get a sense. So we have two quiz funnels that are going to be broken down like this for you guys. So you can see all the questions and you can kind of look at it. It'll give you some insights. And of course, there's a bot that will write the thing for you. Okay. But you'll have access to those because I think it's really helpful to see all the questions broken down into a flow and kind of see the SOP. And then of course you have a lot of these insights and things in here, and you'll have kind of an overall flow of what these questions look like, etc. Okay. One important thing is like this maps to copy blocks quite well. So you begin with pain block where you're isolating that, right? Then you're kind of moving into promise by highlighting the gap. Then you're talking about mechanism stuff, right? Which is kind of the reason why. Then you're giving proof, constraints, etc., as well as conditions. So all those copy blocks still apply as well. Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. All right. And then there's another one from Quiet Lab that we'll demonstrate and give you guys as well, if you want that. I don't know. Do you guys want that? That's probably too much. You probably don't want it. All right. I would say, Brian, like typically as a marketer, you get exhausted like 1,000 times faster than your market. Like there's still people selling probiotics as good, bad bacteria. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's it's quite powerful. Yeah. So I think testing it is ultimately the best thing. Cool. All right. How do you guys feel? That's actually most of it. The only one we didn't cover on here is comparison. because I was too soft and I let Elise have a break, so she didn't make the comparison page, and I'll never make that mistake again. Okay. We're gonna run a strict program from here on out. But we will go through and add that one on here. But basically, we went through all the different funnel types, all the subtypes, and I'm going to give you guys all the bots for that in a second. Do you guys feel like this makes sense? Yeah, Genesis sweatshop for sure. That's the new ethos. Is it valuable so far? And do you feel like it will be more valuable once you are able to use all the bots for this and you understand how to make it work? I mean, do you guys feel like you can go and be a creative strategist if that is your desire? Like, yes, good. I mean, will these tools help you? It's like it's time. You know what I mean? It's like it's time to go. If you want to do it, you know, the big thing that I see is like there's a lot of copywriters who are like, oh fuck, nobody's hiring a copywriter anymore. They're hiring this thing called a creative strategist. I should probably figure out how to do that. Guess what? You can do it right now. You don't need any more permission. You have better tools than fucking anybody. Like I promise you that. There may be other courses and tools that come around that end up being better, but like you don't tell them that you're using bots. You press the button, they don't care if you're using bots. They want you to be using AI. Why would they not want you to use AI? So like if anyone is waiting for permission, let this be the moment where you stop doing that. You do not need permission anymore. Go and just get the job. You don't need to do more learning. You have access to this course. You can come back and reference it. I will try to continue to make sure it's as simple as possible so you can come back and reference whatever, but you have all the fucking tools to make this happen. Okay, so please do not leave this waiting for permission and stacking more courses because like right now, the demand for creative strategists does exceed the supply, which is not going to last for long, but it's true right now. People all the time are like, I need to find more, I need to find more, I need to find this, I need to find this. So it's like you are in the right opportunity and moment. And when you're in the right opportunity and moment, you will learn in business because that's what you're in. You need to fucking strike while the iron is hot. I see Brad in here commenting a lot too. We were pretty hard on Brad for a while. And, finally he started taking some action and started, getting a bunch of different wins. Okay. Success loves speed. So I like all the stuff that he's popping in here. All right. Does this make sense? Is anyone in here truly? Don't bullshit me with this answer. I want to wait for the yeps to come in. Don't fucking bullshit me with this answer. I want reality. If you came in this workshop because you were a marketer or whatever, and you noticed that creative strategist is a new role and you want to be a creative strategist, and you came in with the mindset of, I'm going to learn this and kind of test the waters and see it or whatever. If that's you and you came in, do you now actually, like I said, don't bullshit me. Do you feel like you have the confidence and conviction to actually start? Like today. All right. Bit overwhelmed is okay. Definitely. Good. Can you give your word? And by the way, your word is your identity and your self-esteem and your all that is wrapped up into it. Do you give your word that you will go and immediately start taking action this week and at the very latest next Monday? And your word is just between you and yourself and God. All right? And Karen's going to screenshot everyone and be on your ass. I know it is overwhelming, but you know what brings clarity is commitment. Commitment is what brings clarity. If you're stuck in the learning and procrastination phase, there is always more fucking shit to learn. Like if I waited until I knew everything about copy to write copy, I would never write copy because I still don't know everything about copy. Believe it or not, I don't know everything about marketing. Right? I have many weak points and many things that I don't know and are not good at and many questions that I have. But you can fucking go into AI and ask it. It's a genius and it will give you answers. If you have questions, good. The quality of your questions is literally what's going to determine the answers that you get. So like you should be happy you have questions because the quality of your questions paired with AI is going to get you amazing results. So if you feel overwhelmed, I promise you, this is not like just motivational rah-rah stuff. This is like very scientific. that making a commitment to actually take action as a creative strategist will bring you the clarity. Because right now you're answering fucking imaginary hypothetical questions. Well, I don't know. What if they ask about this, or what if they want this or this or this? And you're telling yourself fairy tales. Of course it's going to feel overwhelming because you're trying to answer hypothetical fictions. As soon as you say I'm a creative strategist and someone comes in and they're like, I need bots, the clarity that you will get from that level of commitment is like, or they'll be like, oh, I need ads, unaware ads. You're like, okay, cool. What do I got to do? What do I know about unaware ads? And then you go directly to unaware ads and you write unaware ads, and then you know more about them and you're no longer confused. That is the actual solution to overwhelm, is to get committed about what you're doing. Is what I'm saying making sense? I'm not just trying to hype you up, rah, rah, rah. Like I actually want this to be valuable. And the only way it's going to be valuable is to actually do something with it. And I have seen so many times with people I talk to where they're like, yeah, like I've been in marketing for a time, but like I'm scared of ads. Ads are spooky because people spend money on the ads, right? I like email. Well, email is warm and fuzzy. It's scary. You got to snap out of it. You can't be a pussy. That's actually one of the rules we'll talk about tomorrow. Snap out of it. Take a little bit of risk. You know what I mean? You spent your fucking money, 497, taking a risk on this course. So, take a risk on yourself, bet on yourself, and bet on your skills, and bet on all the tools and the understanding that you have. Right? Ads are not that scary. It's fucking basic. All right. That's all I got. Sell, 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 sell. Oh, yeah. And join Genesis too. It would be a great moment to make a pitch, but it would feel inauthentic. So I'm going to pitch you in a second. All right. Where do you find actual clients? What a fucking great question. If only you had a workshop that was going to break down every fucking possible way to get clients and make tens of thousands of dollars a month as a creative strategist because it's fucking real. If only. That's tomorrow. All right? It's going to be good. All right. So now we're going to talk. Is that okay? You guys feel riled up on my Tony Robbins shit? Yeah, I know, Alex. Thanks for calling yourself out. Pitching emails and ads are scary. It's like you got to just stop and just go. You can do it. Like you don't have to wait. Really. You could have just bought this course and had me just tell you to fucking stop waiting and go. And like it would be worth it. Genuinely. All right, awesome. So let's go into product pages. All right, so product pages is it's a whole art and science. There's no way I'm going to be able to cover all of that like in crazy whatever here right now. One thing that I will say is that many e-com brands or D2C brands actually have weaker product pages. Many of them have very strong ones, but many of them have weaker product pages. Okay. And so what we're going to show you or talk about for just a little bit here is what we call like the hybrid product page. This is basically taking a lot of direct response principles like sales letters and VSLs and applying that to the product page structure. So it still looks branded, it still looks good, but it's really drenched in our favorite copy blocks, okay, which is quite powerful. So we'll be going through a little bit of this. Here's an example of maybe a top of product page that looks a little bit better, right? I still think this headline is not the best, but it's pretty direct. And what you'll notice in here, I want you guys to pay attention and tell me all the copy blocks that you see. Tell me the copy blocks that you see. Pain, promise. Yeah, and tell me which ones, what is what. Like, someone type out some of the examples of the constraints that you see. The IBAG says pains, good. What about fastest? Constraints without creams. It's Photoshop a copy block. Yeah, it is proof, demonstration. You got before and afters, the testimonials. You have conditions, right? The 90 days, the money back guarantee, 70% off, Valentine's sale, best price ever. Fastest is a constraint. Proven is just saying it's proven. Be better to demonstrate it, but still, it's good. Without creams, needles, or surgery. Clinical grade, you have proof. Red light therapy plus microcurrent duo, that's your curiosity. Tightens the hidden elastic band, that's more curiosity, that's under there. Flattens bags, brightens dark circles. Right? You see, this is really stacked with copy blocks. And that's typically what you want. A lot of times you'll see product pages that are just Shopify pages, and they're pretty flat. And so, if you know Copyblocks, you can literally go in and you can start to edit or create hybrid product pages that stack a lot of the proof that we talked about and stack a lot of the copy blocks. Okay. And that's why above the fold is really the most powerful thing you can do with product pages. And copy blocks is what you do, right? So what will do this for me? Why should I care? How is this different? How can I trust this? And again, it's basically just copy block stuff. Mario says his mom still follows for 60 minutes. I know. My grandma too. She's just is always buying. You fucking ecom guys who do these like forced subscriptions. I always get a message from my sister-in-law. She's like, "Oh yeah, we have it. Grandma spent another 250 on some fucking knee pads or something like that. Forced subscription. She's getting 16 knee pads delivered in the mail every 2 weeks. Can we figure that out?" It's like, okay. Yep. Is this going to be annoying or risky? That's the constraints, permission, all that stuff. The visuals are very, very powerful. Again, AI is insanely, insanely powerful for this. Below the fold is basically just answering the questions and objections. Right? The only difference really between a sales page and an ecom like product page is, do you reveal the product early on? That's basically it. And typically a lot of the stuff that you're going to do, yes, you'll get swipe files for product pages too. All that is in here. I know you can't see it. Let me just do this. Advertorials, and then you'll have product pages here as well. Okay. Lander Labs, one of the biggest things I've seen is design being a bottleneck. Yeah, Lander Labs is a pretty good tool. And then I'm going to give you an SOP for how to do this with Lovable. Ron, do you have those pages that you made using the process that we shared in Lovable? Would you mind popping them in here? Because I thought those were quite good. Yeah, it's very, very simple. And really what you need is a bunch of examples, which we've given you. You just literally put in the example, it scrapes the code, and then you put your copy in there, and it will edit it. And Ron used this process, and I mean, as far as I know, Ron's not a programmer or whatever, and he did quite good. Let's take a look. I know you can't see it all the way, but this is a pretty good page that he coded with Lovable. And you wrote this with the bots, right? Just say yes. That's the question. That's the answer I'm looking for. Awesome. Perfect. Okay, so then your product page is you just stack copy blocks early on above the fold, and then you answer and then and then you answer all the questions below. So we just like to pick on Ron. We have favorites we like to pick on. So cool. Here's some other sort of answer like questions and things that you'll pop in there. The mental model is above the fold as you pre-sell with your strongest copy blocks. And then below the fold, you melt resistance. That's basically it of what you want to do. Okay. And we also have a product page bot that will do all of this stuff for you. It's trained on a lot of really, really good stuff. Elisa is quite good at the stuff that she does. She is one of the rare people who's good at copy and also good at building bots. I mean, she's generated millions of dollars for pretty famous people, and she's got good copy. So the copy that comes out of it, quite good. All right, then there's checkout pages. To be honest, this is an entire art and science, and I do not pretend to be an expert. So basically, use the existing resources and just copy what's working. A quick breakdown. There's some other things on here, like the core psychological mechanism of what to pay attention to, the 3 pillars you want, like proof, clarity, and safety. And then I also kind of have outlined some of these different common checkout page levers that you can pay attention to. There will be examples, of course, in the swipe file that you can look at. There's great tools like Checkout Champ or whatever. Other people use things like, Next Funnels or Shopify's Limited, etc. But we also have a bot, which is quite good. You can just upload screenshots of what you're working on, and it will give you recommendations based on best practices to find gaps in your checkout pages. And I know that a lot of the people, my friends who do tons of funnel tests and they do lots of volume, like millions of dollars per month in spend, a lot of the big tests that they do are actually on checkout pages. So we'll look at that. Video stuff, we have it all of our scripts, all the scripts, we already have resources for those. And then video is going to have to be a bonus one that we'll add. We originally had someone who was going to come in. We may have to move that, but I'll make sure that everyone here gets access to some of that, the video stuff too. Okay, then we also have upsells. Upsells are insanely powerful. And I think this is one area where if you have experience in direct response funnels like VSLs, sales letters, etc., you can provide a lot of value for ecom brands because there are a lot of ecom brands, D2C brands that they have upsells, but they're just running on Shopify, which doesn't have a lot of functionality. Or if they're even using another platform that has functionality, they don't really understand the psychology of upsells. And I've heard many, many stories and anecdotes from some of my friends who do have a lot of direct response chops, and they brought this into D2C brands. Like I can think of at least 3 off the top of my head doing serious volume, so millions of dollars per month. And they all use like a lot of the principles I'm about to show you here, hardcore direct response principles, and their upsells are like 60 minutes long. Yeah, it's actually Alex's partner was telling me like his I think his VSL is anywhere from 60 to 75 minutes long, which is crazy. Yeah, Dan says I did one upsell, downsell funnel, added $51 in profit per order. Mark is my former mentor. Awesome. Yeah, Mark's a cool guy. So yeah, so these upsells here, very, 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 very powerful. It depends. Yeah, it depends. Like there's tons of different platforms. I've done upsells on funnels that did $1 million in a day. Yeah. So getting the psychology is really, really key. In fact, for the company that I'm working with right now, I looked at their entire funnel and I was like, the number one thing when I looked at their funnel was like, fuck. I was like, I'm pretty sure that we can add like, I was like, I'm pretty sure we could double, if not triple your upsell take rate by like switching around the offer, changing the script and things like that. It'd be really, really powerful. And a lot of them don't know how to do it. And this is a big company we're talking about. So upsells is just a huge opportunity. And just like I said with ads, you should not be afraid to go and pitch upsells and try to make tests on them. Okay, insanely lucrative and massive opportunities. You guys know why upsells work. I mean, I don't think I need to go into that. That's beginner stuff, but you can kind of look at that right here. All right. And we're going to go back to an oldie but a goodie. I actually think most people in here will not even know what the fuck I'm talking about, even though this feels literally like I'm reading Egyptian hieroglyphics, right? That's how old it seems. But we're going to bring back the Olaf method. Okay. The Olaf. This is like, does anyone know what the Olaf method is? I'm really curious. Justin Goff smiling right now. Yeah. Nope. The good old Olaf method. This is back in the day. I mean, many of you guys don't know the history of Genesis and copy coders. It was basically a copy accelerator back in the day, and it was Stefan and Justin Goff, and and then I think it basically transitioned. I think I'm basically Stefan, and Mario would be Goff. He might be bald under that hat. We don't know for sure. Oh yeah, he loves to take it off and show his his beautiful mane. All right. So, but Olaf is pretty good. It may be one of the worst acronyms of all time, if I'm being honest, because of what the fuck does it mean? But many people memorize it, so I guess I guess it worked. I happen to think it's one of the worst acronyms of all time, but it is quite simple. So, offer, length, opening, and format. All right. Yeah, I'm glad he's alive. That's great. So, this is tiered. The most important thing that you need to pay attention to, the end time is still going to be around 3. We might go a little bit over, but right now I feel like we're on pace. So I'm going to do my best to bring it home by 3. So we have offer, which is the most important part of an upsell flow. All right. I'll give you examples of really good offers in here, but just to give an example, again, for this company that I'm looking at, the first thing I did when I looked at it, I was like, oh, we need to move your offers around. You have your order bump here. You have this thing here. You're selling a fucking cord, which is adding like $2 to your AOV on fucking upsell 2. Like, this is not making any sense. Like, we need to like move a lot of these offers around and restructure them. Okay. That's sort of the economics part of it. So offer is always going to be the biggest lever, probably 50, 60, maybe even 70% of making a really good upsell is making a great offer. The next one, of course, is the length. All right. Now, this matters. It still matters. Like it needs to be as long as it needs to be. But I would basically just say most people, especially if they're not familiar with the direct response funnels or the VSL world where we write, 50, 60-minute long VSLs where they're like, oh my God, this is too long. I hear that all the time. Right? Pause. But I hear that all the time where it's just like, I think the copy is too long. I think this ad is too long. Do you think this sales page do you think this thing is too long? I'm like, maybe, but test it because it's probably not. To me, it's too short. Right? So length is quite important because there's a lot that you need to do in the psychology of an upsell to really land it if you're going to commit to doing it. The opening is also very, very important. We'll talk about it in a second, and then the format. So offer is very important. Done for you is by far the best thing. Done for you, right? If they buy a product or service, you're like, okay, you bought something to do it for yourself, so now we're going to do done for you. Yeah, ugly statics with long form copy is working extremely well. Yes. Congruency over cleverness is really important. You want to think about the whole funnel, not just the front end. Length is quite important. Here's some guidelines here, which you guys can read through when you get access to these slides. But again, just longer is quite important. I'd say around 20 minutes is pretty good, but people have upsells, like I said, that are 45, 50, 60-minute longs, which is fucking insane. But that's it. That's how it works. The opening is really important. I mean, that's probably the biggest piece of psychology is that you need to find a way to make the argument so they don't feel bad about what they just bought. That's it. You don't want to make them feel bad. They just spent money. So you really need to pay attention to like, hey, I want to congratulate you. You did awesome. You made a smart decision. You're in the right place. I'm going to reassure you. This is great. And the next thing you say, you want to make sure that it doesn't derail what they're doing. It just accelerates it, makes it go faster. Okay. It makes it about them. And typically what you'll see, Hormozy has a lot of frameworks with this, is every time you buy something, you create a new problem. And that's really what you're doing. You bought a car, now you have the problem of you need insurance. You bought this, now you have the problem of this. You bought this, now you need gas. Okay, so every solution just basically generates a new type of problem, and that's what you want to think about with upsells. There are 3 main upsell categories: more of the same, done for you, and get results faster. Not everything falls in here, but in general, these are the ones that you should try to stick to. Okay, more of the same is a pretty obvious one, but a lot of people miss it. Okay, if you're in direct response, most people know this because it's standard practice, but outside of hardcore direct response, a lot of D2C guys kind of miss it. It doesn't always make sense. More of the same may not make sense if it's not a consumable, but for consumables, it's always a really good one to do. I have those broken down a little bit more. I also have a bunch of swipe file examples that are in here, at least 3 or 4 that you guys can go through and look at. Yeah, Shopify doesn't allow it. It's one of the big ones. I also have an upsell cheat sheet in here that breaks it down even more. By the way, for these cheat sheets, the recommendation would be you can throw those into AI, even regular AI, and you can throw, again, if I were you and you have a question, like let's say you have a question for a client or something, you literally take the recording, you download the transcript, you take the transcript, you pop it into Claude Opus 4.6, you take the slides, download them as TXT files, you pop it into Opus 4.6, and then you take a cheat sheet or whatever, all the resources I give you, take a bonus PDF, pop it into Opus 4.6, and then you ask it any question you want. And it's literally like asking me the question because it's going to basically figure out all the things I'm saying. It's going to make inferences and use logic to figure it out, and you'll be able to bounce ideas back and forth. And I promise you'll get an answer from there that's going to be better than anything else you'll get. Right? Especially since you're giving it the context of everything I'm talking about, all the slides, all the cheat sheets, all that, and the examples. That's why I'm giving you so much resources, right? So just make that your mental habit. That's exactly what I would do. So, yeah, exactly. Everything's got to be a bot now. Cool. And then we also have downsells. Right? Downsells are also pretty important. They're a lot simpler. Okay. The 4 types that you'll pay attention to are things like payment plans, lower price, smaller quantity, add more value. Oh, by the way, the upsell bot that we have is quite good. And it will write really good upsells for you. It'll also brainstorm with you to make sure you choose the right offer. So it's built on all of these things in here. That thing alone can make you a lot of money. Like a lot of it can make you and the people you work for a lot of money. And if you make other people money, you will be able to make a lot of money yourself. Okay. The upsell bot cannot do downsells, but you know what can do downsells? The downsell bot. Okay. So payment plans, lower price, smaller quantity, add more value. Quite simple. You have some rules of thumb here, some if-then statements, which will help you choose the right downsell type. I've given you examples of downsells here, or this is the cheat sheet, and then I've given you examples in here. Okay, I'm trying to leave no stone unturned. Do you guys feel like I'm doing a good job with that, leaving no stone unturned? You have the training, the resources, the materials, the examples, the SOPs, the cheat sheets, the bots, literally fucking everything you can, and an implementation call. Okay, so some tactical elements like validate the no first, make the math clear, urgency is specific, CTA button is specific, no thanks link is self-disqualifying, and then the emotional tone. Okay, you can come back and use these as references as well. Okay. All right. Sounds good. We're almost done. We're doing quite good. We have 222 slides. I didn't plan that, but 222 slides, and we're at 197. So we are quite close to the end. All righty. I'm going to talk a little bit about testing funnels. All right. This is way, way, way. Who knows who this is in this GIF too? You get a reward if you know who it is. Bill question mark. Not good enough. John Cena. Yeah, it's John Cena. Hicks, good. A DR marketer. Yep. Cool. Some of you guys know. All right, so we're going to talk about the testing funnels. We're not going to mention a lot about TSLs and VSLs. Maybe that's something we can do a little bit later, but I think we're going to stick with these funnels for now, since that's mostly what a lot of people. You already have the bots that can write things, and most people who talk about VSLs in D2C world are talking about like 4-minute long ads. That's their definition of a VSL. Very few of them are like driving to VSLs, but I'll consider that. I do want to talk a little bit about testing funnels. This is going to be very broad strokes because it's outside the scope of this call, but likely in the course or later down the road or in Genesis, we'll continue to do some talking about this. The basic testing process, this is just logically what you should follow, is the most important thing is just to map your funnel. Okay, there are tools that help you do this. Even if it's like a whimsical or a lucid chart, just visually being able to see the funnel is very, very powerful. And then you want to identify your bottlenecks. Okay, and your bottlenecks are basically based on industry benchmarks. I know Hormozy would hate that. He hates benchmarks, but it doesn't matter. Pay attention to benchmarks to know if you're below them. That's important. And also contribution potential. So you're looking for opportunities and gaps in your current funnel. Where are people getting stuck? Okay. Then you want to make a hypothesis about why that's the case. It's quite easy. Then you basically want to make sure when you make a test that you're using statistical significance, and you're prioritizing your tests. The reality is, yeah, he likes benchmarks for sure, but he doesn't. That's not the end, right? That's why it's gaps and opportunities. But you want to pay attention to statistical significance. You have to balance being a super nerd with like also just kind of being a Chad, because sometimes you can just call a test. But again, statistical significance, it's there for a reason, right? It's a formula for a reason, because we are easily fooled by discrepancies in the data. And you don't really have that much bandwidth, right? Depending on what your CPA is and what your spend is, you really don't have that much bandwidth to make that many tests. So rather than testing a bunch of micro things, I would just be very strategic to prioritize these types of tests. It's literally a calculation and a formula. It's been a long time since I did stats, so I can't explain it, but you just go type in statistical significance calculator, and you just basically put your number of visitors by your number of conversions and pop it in there, and there's a formula, and it will tell you if your p-value is above or below 0.5. I don't fucking know. I forgot. It's been a long time since I took stats, but it's a formula, and you just trust it. All right? You want to test big swings. That's very important. You want to record your data. I put a RAG here because that's one thing that we're doing with this company, is just taking all the data and making sure it goes into a RAG system, which is just a big fancy way of saying a comprehensive memory system for AI that AI is able to retrieve it. So you keep track of your tests. Control your variables. Obviously, if you're testing multiple variables, it's hard to know what's working. But sometimes you just got to YOLO and let it rip. Because again, considering that you don't have that many tests, if you really have high conviction in something, sometimes you just pop a bunch of variables together and you're like, I think this is going to work, and you let it go. Okay. And I've broken down those with a little more depth in here so you can kind of pay attention to each of those steps. Those are the core principles in there. It's a lot of gut intuition. I mean, that's the strategist part. That's the creativity and the strategist part. There are rules of thumb, but it's so multivariate and it's not a perfect testing environment. So you can't really approach it 100% scientifically. Like that's a fiction. You can't do it. And things are moving so fast that you have to blend your intuition and judgment. Okay. One thing that I do want to mention before we go on to the master list of resources and tools, which I'll pay attention to, is that we are going to do a promotion for anyone that's on this workshop who does want to join Genesis. Typically, Genesis is $5,000 a year or $500 a month, but we're going to make it available for, I believe, $3,500 while you're on this workshop. And we will also, until the end of day Friday, this is only true end of day Friday, so that's why I'm mentioning it right now, so you guys have time. We will credit what you paid for this workshop, since it's a more expensive workshop, which is $497. So whatever 3,500 minus that is, I think it's 3,003 or something like that. Mari, do you have that link, by the way? Checkout link? The steal is quite crazy. I'm going to pop that in here. We'll talk a little bit more about what's inside of Genesis, but if you're not in Genesis, as you can see, all the Genesis members in here are telling you to join. Okay, so they're not getting anything for that. It's just, that is really quite a ridiculous deal, considering we do 6 of these types of workshops every single year. So this is workshop number 1. If you join Genesis, you get all those workshops. If we sell those for $300 or $500, let's say the average is $400, that's $2,400 right there just in workshop fees. If you thought this workshop is valuable, I mean, who in here has been on most of the workshops? All the workshops are pretty valuable, right? Would you agree? Like, I don't think we half-ass any of these workshops. Every single time people are like, oh, this is like fucking, like really fucking good. And you guys will get access to that by just paying for the whole year. And you have that. Not to mention, you are inside of Genesis. Who in here goes on the A-lister feedback calls where Mario and I break down your copy for anywhere from 3 to 3.5 hours every single week and has gotten value from the A-lister feedback calls? Ron is scared, but he goes. Yeah, you can literally submit your copy every single week and we'll go and look at it. If you have something that's private, you just submit it and you just tell us we don't want to share the screen. We'll still talk about it like more publicly, but we'll go in there. Jim is in there. Jim is doing like crazy, crazy good numbers and crazy volume. He comes in and submits those things. All right. So a lot of people will come in. You can ask client questions, anything you want. We're here. Then you have the Monday calls where we literally go through and we break all this stuff down. A lot of people in Genesis have heard a lot of this stuff already because we covered it already, because we will typically cover a bunch of different things on those Monday calls. We go deep in a bunch of shit. It's done. Then there's a bunch of, and that's the link, by the way, if anyone wants to join it. And then we also have automations calls. We have Brian Spirinello does freelancing calls. So if you have freelancing questions, he does those every single week. Automations calls with Nunos, who's great at Go High Level and AI. He's in those. We also have Adam Nasser, who does a bunch of other calls that are available in there. There's no shortage of calls. You have the whole archive, the bot builder workshop you get access to, all the past workshops. I think we're at 6 or 7 now. You get access to those joining. Those were sold for $497 or $297. You already heard stories in here about people fucking literally making $15,000, $18,000 selling their bot services by the tools that they learned inside of that course. There's a bot building bot, which I still use and think is fucking amazing, that you can use if you want to build a bot. There's a bot that helps you build the bots. Okay. And people have gotten amazing results and amazing success using those. So all those resources are available to you inside of Genesis. Some of the things that even Genesis members don't know is that even though we're going to do 6 workshops like this, we're going to do also 6 mini workshops coming up every single month in between. It's not 100% confirmed, but more than likely in March, we'll be doing a workshop on Claude Code and Claude Bot, which will break down a lot of other things, which will be really quite cool. I have a couple people who will come in and help with that. So you'll get access to those. those will be sold separately, but there's stuff only inside that Genesis members will only get access to. So a lot of materials, a lot of resources, and if nothing more, to me, you pay that money just as an association fee to be associated and around other people who are doing this type of work. A lot of people who in here has made friends inside of Genesis or met people inside of Genesis or feels a little less lonely because you know that there's other crazy idiots like you who are doing this type of work. You can ask questions about, especially with AI. One of the most important things you can do is just be surrounded by people who are in AI all the time, because then you don't have to go and learn and study and read every sort of news article. You can let the good stuff kind of filter down. Okay. So that's all I'll say. That's not really even the hard pitch. I just want to make sure that that's available because we will, you can still always join Genesis after this call, whatever, but this deal will expire end of day Friday. So I want to make sure that that's there. Mario's given 30 people clients. Yes, we also have given people, helped a lot of people. I mean, we have people like Fernando. He literally used to take the calls from, he was here yesterday. I don't think he's here today, but he was here yesterday. Fernando's here. I mean, Fernando can attest, but basically he used to join the calls, the A-lister feedback calls from the porta potty, right? He used to pretend he had to go take a shit so he could come and join the calls. And we're like, you know what? We're going to help you land this gig. He landed a gig at a really big agency and fucking crushing it. And that's all credit to Fernando. Fernando's another Mexican, Viva Mexico, right? We got a lot of Mexicans in there. He's a hard worker and he's a fucking savage. So all the credit is due to him. But we helped him lay up the opportunity, and I don't know how much he's making now, but I would imagine it's quite a bit. I would imagine it's quite a bit. I'm not going to say, but you'd probably be happy to be making that. And he's working with some of the really, like some of the biggest, like one of the biggest agencies and a lot of really big brands, and his skill level has gone crazy. There's also Cosmin in here. Cosmin sent me the notification a little while ago that he crossed $37,000 in client fees. I think it was January was the month, and he didn't even factor in. He's like, oh yeah, and by the way, someone else hit me up for a $6,000 deal that maybe I'll do for writing a couple ads. And he also got paid on top of that. So I mean, his real expected value was above 40,000, and he continues to build that up from there. There's other people like Steve Dar. Steve came in. He's running his own funnels right now, but he followed the freelancing thing that we did last time. A lot of stuff we'll cover tomorrow. Was able to lend a $10,000 gig more or less per month that was off of Upwork. Fernando just bought a brand new car. That's pretty cool. So anyways, there's a lot of success stories and things in there. So that's my pitch for joining. And that's the link that Karen just popped in there. It is a good deal. So I would just invest in that. I think there's a payment option on there too, which is even crazier. So if you upgraded Genesis for $500 per month, no, you only get credited if you use the paid in full. The monthly option remains the monthly option, and some people prefer to do that, which is fine, right? $500 a month. I remember back in the day, Copy Accelerator Lite, the Lite version was like $1,400 or something like that, $1,500 per month. Yeah. So I don't know. Deflation. That's what we're dealing with. So that's all I got. If you guys have questions, I mean, you can pop them in the chat here. There's a lot of Genesis members, and you can always email support. You can also email Mario and I. I'll pop in our emails on here. And we will answer as well. Oh yeah, and I didn't even mention all the bots, Mario bot, whatever. I mean, besides the bots you have here, there's like 40 or 50 plus other bots for doing fucking everything. In-feed VSLs, full VSL structures. We had someone just write a VSL using all those different bots, low ticket bots, Google Docs, email ones, Maria bot. I mean, there's tons of shit in there as well. Okay. We can't name them with the, we may end up naming them with it, but the description is going to be in there. And in the doc, yeah, we updated the description to be a little clearer. That is another software that is being developed right now, but you don't need it. Okay, so let's go through this master list of tools here. Let me stop sharing so I can share this a little bit better. All right, everyone in here knows how tabs work on Google, right? That's not even a funny question, but it's just, I know some people sometimes get confused. So I want to make sure it's clear. So you have these tabs here. I see 19 of you that are on this document right now. This is the updated version with all the new bots and everything else on here. We may go through and update some of these names as well, but we've updated the descriptions so it's a little clearer which bot that you're using. Okay, and then like I said, I put a lot of this on the implementation call. I'm going to try to run through as much of this as possible so you can see what it looks like in action. And I may end up adding some looms or something in here as well. I don't know, Karen or Daniel, were we able to get these ones too? These are the some important ones, the image generators. I want to make sure those get added. Anything that's highlighted is TBD, but I think almost everything is in here besides those. So on the document tab, you'll have day 1, and then you'll have day 2. And I guess there's no bots. Shit, I guess we lied. I guess there's no bots for day 2. Or is there? Dun, dun, dun. So here we go. All your bots are now added. You guys have access to this. I'll pop it in here. You have funnel bots. So this is the bot to write any advertorial. I want to make sure this is the updated version. I don't think it is. Do we have that updated advertorial one? These will likely change, but on a slower rotation, and we'll find a way to make it easy for everybody. So, yeah, Karen and Daniel, if we have the image generator bots would be good, and the link for the advertorial one will be good. The updated one that I sent this morning. I'll pop that on here. We will move these so you have the images, but these are the quiz examples. Okay, so you have the quiz funnels. So quiz bot as well as the examples are in here, and we'll make sure to add that. This is the advertorial one. Thank you, Daniel. So this is the new updated one. Yeah, there's also one kind of special thing we'll do for anyone who wants to be a creative strategist. It's a new idea I had. Mario doesn't know that I'm doing it. And I guess we'll talk about it and we'll mention it tomorrow. But it's another reason to join Genesis. I'll just say that. Makes him scared. Caveman pages are added here. For the proof page, I will try to, I may spend a little bit of time, 15 minutes once we finish today. I'm just going to give you guys access, and then anyone who wants to stay on, I may answer some questions or pop through a little bit of this for about 15 minutes. And remember, Tuesday, we're doing the implementation, so you can see a lot of this in action, which would be better. For the proof pages, you just gather all your proof together, and then there's a proof deep research process that is down below that you can use, and then you have the proof page bot, and you have an SOP. Most of these have SOPs. So let's just make sure this is all shareable. Oops. Yeah, advertorial bot should be added now. Oh, I guess it wasn't. You're right. Thank you. felt like I was spinning in circles trying to keep track of all this shit. And there's still some shit I forgot, I'm sure. Okay, then you have your top 5 pages. So the affiliate version is if you're doing a top 5 page. Most of you, this is not what you'll be using. The top 5 is basically, let's say that you're just making an affiliate page and you're going to get a commission on any of those, then you would use this one. Right? It's more about just like a general top 5. This is the one that most of you will be using, which is trying to sell your product. So you're positioning your product as the strongest one. Bridge pages, I know we didn't cover them super in depth. There are examples. These are pretty short little jump pages, and this bot will do it for you. So I just encourage you to kind of play around with that. Here's your hybrid product page one. Here's an advanced product page editing. For those in Genesis, you can use MarioBot. For those who are not, you can use pretty much any Genesis AI writing tool, like the ad writing bot that you have. Here's your upsell bot. Here's your downsell bot. Here's your checkout page bot. For proof breakdown, you use these bots to generate a ton more proof for your offer and services. So the first thing you do is you use this proof compiler bot. All of these have instructions. That's one thing people or the team is really good at. So if you just type in ready, it will tell you exactly what it is that it needs from you. So you just follow the process and it'll take you through everything. They're really quite good. And it even tell you which bot to use and where to paste it and stuff like that. So that's all in here. Here's this advertorial page cloning SOP that I mentioned. If you guys saw Ron's the advertorial that Ron was able to make, he used this process. So it's a very, very simple SOP. It's actually not that hard to do. And I put together, there's a video walkthrough going through that. You can also use tools like Lander Labs, etc. Then this is the master swipe file that you guys have access to. Just a little bit of stuff. We're working on adding everything to a PDF because sometimes these links get taken down, which is fucking annoying when you get a swipe file and like half of them don't fucking work. So the team is uploading those all to a drive. It'll take a little bit of time. As you can see, there's a lot, but we'll upload those. That way you guys will always have access to them. Okay. Use your own judgment. Sometimes the subcategories are not 100% right, but yeah, lots of bonus PDFs. Quiz funnel breakdown. We already have that. So let me move that down here. Upsell script examples and the cheat sheets, which you guys have, downsell scripts. This is something I'll add a little bit later, just a visual, but it's not as important. You have your proof modalities and then a master list of tools. Pretty straightforward. This is just talking about like spy tools and things like that you can end up using. Cool. I'm going to also share these slides with y'all.
Yo, Luke, I got a quick interjection.
Who's that? Max?
Yeah. I noticed read the SOP for the deep research bot I put in there that I sent to you the other day. It's not in the document. I feel like that's pretty.
Can you DM it to me right now?
Yeah, it's just pretty integral to using it.
Yep. And Daniel, I don't think that this bot is the image generator ones are right. Yeah, they're not right. Like the static image generator one I'm hitting is telling me it's an advertorial bot. It's like literally just the ones that are inside of like it's not the extract, like this is the extraction bot. It's not any of those. It's the ones that inside of copy coders under the static ads, and it's just because Max, you just basically use the same image generator, right? Ones, right? Static ad
Yeah.
image generators.
It's the static ad 1-to-1 and then the static ad mobile 9-to-16.
9-to-16. Yeah,
Just
I'm gonna
in
put
there
those in the
already.
support chat, Daniel. But it's those two that need to be uploaded with GPT 1.5 image. Those are the only ones that we're still missing.
Yeah, I think I sent you the wrong link just now. Let me double check that.
Okay. let's just add those. We need those. Okay, make sure we got everything. All right. Cool. What do you guys think? Worth it? Valuable? Excited to dive in? Somebody tell me what they're going to do with these bots because you have so many options. You have a buffet of things. So play around with it. But somebody tell me something very specific that they're going to do. Making advertorial right now. I'd love to hear it. Way to take fucking action. Advertorials for cold outreach is very, very good. Samples for Upwork. Awesome. Upgrade to Genesis yearly. Hell yeah. Love to hear it. Cool. All those resources are available. We'll make sure that the video gets uploaded. All this stuff gets uploaded as well. Tomorrow is an even bigger day, right? Tomorrow is the client getting day. So if you're not interested in getting clients, right? If you own a business or whatever, you can sit tomorrow out and you can join us on Tuesday for the implementation call, which will be very valuable for everyone. If you want to get clients and be a creative strategist, you must come tomorrow. Mandatory. Come tomorrow. We got good stuff planned. Okay. I'm giving you hella sauce. This is stuff that's real. Like I was going through the slides today and I'm like, this shit is so fucking good. Like I promise you, I don't even like to teach like freelancing stuff, client getting stuff, if I'm being honest, because to me, client getting is just like be a fucking normal person and get really fucking good, and people will just want to work with you. Like that's kind of the secret. But in terms of like the tactics that are there, like detailed, specific SOP examples of like every possible tactic you can use, stuff that is actually working right now, I literally think it is unparalleled. And it's not just because I put it together. It's like it is completely comprehensive and everything is in there. And we'll cover it a lot. And we're going to be talking a lot about the actual shit that is holding you back and helping you guys get some results. So it's mandatory to come tomorrow. Don't watch the replay. Just come. Very similar to Client Avalanche Workshop, but improved. Even better. There's even more shit in there. All right. That's what I got. I'm going to basically officially end the call, and I'm going to stick around for maybe 5 to 10 more minutes just to answer some questions for you guys and make sure some things are clear. And but if you guys want to jump, then you are free to jump. Max and Elise, you guys still cool to meet in about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
All right. See, you guys think it's a no have tos. You're gonna be there. That wasn't a question.
I have something important for the SOPs. I hate to interrupt.
Okay, go.
The static ads,
Yeah.
SOPs that I made, they're not in the first document either. So like how they're basically going like how to insert your product images
Okay.
into the ads.
Mail that for me or DM that to me right now and I'll add it.
It's the same document pretty much that I sent you. They're all in there.
Which one?
The one I DM'd you. I DM'd you the tab. So like they were just like
you just put a lot of shit in there.
Yeah, I didn't mean to. I didn't know I was supposed to put them in their own thing, but
okay, it's fine.
if it makes it easier, I can make them their own like one-to-one page, and then I can send those to you.
No, you're fine. You're good.
Okay.
See, even these guys over delivering. So I'll add those in just a second, and I will meet with you guys at 3:15. Right? They don't get breaks. We don't fucking get breaks. Okay. There's a bot that helps with the visual side, right? Aside from the actual ad script. Yes, Emmanuel. There's tons of static ads in day one. to generate all the different statics. We'll cover videos a little bit later. For TSLs, there's not a bot that is inside this workshop that's available for that. There are inside of Genesis and some of the other workshops. We have some of those. Yes, I have multiple ideas already. So I'm going to officially end it there so we can end on time. Creative Brief is another one, and will come a little bit later. Please come tomorrow if you're interested in being a creative strategist. That's all I got. So I'll officially end it if you guys want to bounce. And I appreciate everyone being here. And then I'm going to stick around for just a few more minutes to answer some questions for those who want. But those who bounce, please go in peace. Enjoy your life. Yeah, a battle royale. Good thing we cover 9 different ways to get clients, at least. So, all right. Thank you, Mezicam. I'll look for that one as well. Cool. Anybody else got some quick questions that we can answer in just the next 5 minutes or so? Um, I don't know if we'll cover navigating ad accounts. That maybe somebody would put in the full course. Um, but I'll think about that one. Put it in. Let me see. Let me try to find the example from. We have that form that I gave you guys for any request that you have of something that's missing, or something you'd like to see. Mostly valuable for the course, but if there's something in there that I think is good for this workshop, I'll add it in there as well. And those who got the course, of course, please answer. So let me pull up that one. Use this. The main difference is just, everything that you have, you guys will keep access, and then we'll continue to update the course with more modules and things like that. So it'll be just a little bit more in depth. We'll probably add some different bots and things in there, and it's just we're going to continue to update that one, and you guys will get access to the updates if you have access to the course, essentially. But I mean, there's literally nothing in here that you don't get access to. Yeah, the discount will be grandfathered in as long as you continue. If you leave and the price is raised, that will be a different story. Day 3 is both. I mean, it's both in-house and freelance work. It's a similar process, I believe. So a lot of that. I do research, a hybrid of AI and manual research. Malcolm, I see Mario answered your question. The Oracle is basically all the Genesis bots in one place, and we're actually going to improve that to make the experience a little bit better. But it's most of the bots in one place, and then Delphi is basically trained on all of our knowledge, and it's basically you can ask about anything that we've done over the last 5 years, and it has a RAG database that's trained on that, which is powerful. It depends on the clothing brand. That's more of a tactical, specific question. It'd be hard to go through, but I think a lot of the same stuff applies in general. I don't have any specific, just general nuanced things on that. The bot one covers the bots that we gave you, so not agentic and voice bots. That specific training does not cover that. If you were in this workshop starting from 0, what would your order of priorities be? Literally get a client as fast as possible and then just get more clients and make them better and better and better, and then use all this shit to fulfill. That would be number 1. And then we'll cover that tomorrow, basically, what the priorities would be. What's a creative brief look like? That's good. That is one that we will likely add. What analytics do you recommend? Analytics is tough. I mean, there's Triple Whale, there's Hyros. I know you said Triple Whale doesn't do funnel analytics, which I don't know about. I mean, Hyros is an important one. Facebook, oftentimes people just use that as the source of truth. So you have to kind of play around with it. It depends on the account and depends on what you're doing. I mean, Hyros and then just kind of using different ones as source of truth is powerful, but testing is like or analytics like that is not perfect. There's really not a perfect solution. We do have a lot of email bots and an email workshop that we did, which was quite good. That's in Genesis. And we have plans to do a webinar workshop and bots. That'll be a separate workshop. You teased a mini workshop earlier. Does it relate to agentic processes like Claude Code? Yeah, it's not set in stone yet, but it will likely happen, and it will be on Claude Code and Claude Bot. I'm working with some people right now, so I can't answer this definitively, but if and when we do the mini workshop, it'll essentially be around setting it up, and it'll be a very practical use case, ideally for marketers or whoever else. Awesome. Chris says Click to Magic is great for paid ad tracking. That's great. The unaware ad matching. Yes, that's another one that we're working on. See you, Shamari. Joa, thank you. See you. I am wearing a wife beater. Yeah. And I'm wearing a pashmina. I don't know why I decided to to dress. It's the same thing I wore yesterday. It's the same exact fucking clothes, and I'm dressed like I'm going to a festival. And thank you. I'm glad no one. I thought someone would call it out, but if Mario came wearing some shit like this, I would be on his ass. Yeah, the special ropes. Cool. All right, guys. I think that's it for today. We'll see you all tomorrow, those who are here, and we'll see other people on Tuesday. I appreciate your time and attention as always. Excited to see what you guys do and put into practice. So thank you very much. Ciao, ciao, ciao.
See ya.